So Delhi of the 1980s had a lot of sleepy government colonies, and I grew up in one of them. Now the houses were small, but behind each house was a huge garden. And our garden was the star of the entire colony, because my father loved to garden. He would spend all his time in the garden, and half of it was very boring stuff like dhania, pudina, tomato and cabbage and cauliflower and bangan. But the other half was a splash of color, because he would grow very pretty, very beautiful flowers in it. So we had everything from the boring marigolds to the exotic black rose and rajnigandha and chameli and everything. So that garden sort of became a watering hole. We used to gather there every summer evening when there was a power cut. Delhi of 80s had a huge amount of power cuts. Winter afternoons, हम वहाँ धूप सेकते थे. रोज शाम को भैया और मैं वहाँ खेलते थे. So we've played everything from cricket to football to hopscotch to everything. And gardening was my father's hobby. My mother also had a hobby, and that hobby was photography. She loved clicking pictures. Now please remember, this is not the smartphone era. This is the era of Kodak camera, where a reel had to be put inside the camera, all 36 pictures had to be taken, sent to the studio, and everybody used to wait back for the results. Dekhe zara picture kaisi aayi hai, So my mother, one fine day, looked out of the kitchen window, and she said, "Arey wah, the flowers are in full bloom, the sun is shining, the day is clear and bright. Aaj to ek photo banti hai." And please remember that हर घर के एक घर के कपड़े होते हैं और एक बाहर के कपड़े होते हैं. And my mother firmly believes that her picture बाहर के कपड़ों में होनी चाहिए. So she gathers all of us, चलो चलो कपड़े बदलो फटाफट, फोटो लेते हैं, मौसम देखो, फूल देखो, ये है वो है. Nobody was interested. My father had just come back from work. He was there sitting in his kurta pajama reading his paper. My brother, the poor boy, was preparing for his engineering entrance. So he was totally stressed out, totally freaked out. I was running around playing in the garden with my friends, dirty hands, dirty feet. My mother wouldn't listen to us. उठिए उठिए कपड़े बदलिए, ये क्या क्रम्पल पहना हुआ है, चलो उठो बेटा अपनी किताबें छोड़ो. Look at you, Ruchira, look at your clothes, dirty hands, dirty knees, wash your face, go and change your clothes. My God, she pushed and she cajoled and she threatened. And finally, in half an hour, we were assembled in the garden, spick and span, but in a very grumpy mood. After that, my mother took 15 minutes in deciding photo kahan leni hai. ये ठीक है, वो क्या रही, ये क्या रही, इसके आगे, उसके आगे. A place was decided. Then Varma uncle from Pados was called. Varma ji, आइए एक photo लीजिए ना. And then my mother explained, 10 minutes she took explaining to him. Varma ji, ऐसे खड़े होइए, ये कॉम्पोजिशन है, हम लोग बीच में आएंगे, ये वाले फूल आने चाहिए, ऊपर मत कीजिएगा, नीचे मत कीजिएगा. He was flustered, poor man. Anyhow, the photo was taken, it was sent to the studio, it came back, we put it in the family album, and we forgot about it. Time passed. My brother got admission in the college he wanted, and he moved out. My father decided to leave the government job, and we left the government house. We moved into a DDA flat, which unfortunately did not have a garden. Some more time passed. My parents retired, and they decided that they wanted to live in Chandigarh, so they left Delhi. My brother got a job abroad, and he decided not to come back. I was still working in Delhi, so I was the only one left in that house, all alone. And normally we associate loneliness with the fact that when you go out and you're living in an unfamiliar city and you miss everybody back home. But in my case, everybody else has moved on, and I was still at home, missing all those people. Well, this is life. So one day, I was trying to clean some cupboards which had not been opened for a very long time. I took out a few musty, dirty boxes, and I opened one of the boxes, and out came the picture that we had taken so many years back. And when I looked at that picture, my mother was the only one smiling into the camera. My father was looking here. I was standing like this, in a very arrogant mood that मैं photo में क्यों हूँ? And my brother was, okay, will I get admission? And that flood of memories just came rushing back to me. But the flowers were looking beautiful. We had roses on the left, marigolds on the right. Behind us were the bougainvilleas, blooming purple. And at that moment, I realized that this picture is my Kodak moment of life, because this is nothing but an entire garden of memories for me. Thank you.
To like, subscribe and follow us, just press some of these buttons. I don't know why people keep pointing. You are educated and you can read. So just read it and do the needful. Please, we're a startup, we need your love.